With the layers of the sun, if you remember back to our mnemonics, we always started with the core in the middle, and we had our apple core, which represented that. The apple core, going back to our mnemonics, was squished down into some type of radio, like a CD player. They had a radio on it that represented the radiative zone, which would have been the next zone out. And then the radio was being stolen by a convict, which would be the convective zone. The core is where energy is being produced. The radiative zone is where energy radiates, meaning it goes outward equally in all directions. And then the convective zone is where energy, like a lava lamp, is rising and sinking. Hot stuff rises and cold stuff sinks. As you move out, then you have your photosphere, would be the next layer that is out, the visible surface of the sun. And then there is a slightly reddish area called the chromosphere. If you go back to the mnemonics, you had the apple core first, and it was being squished into the radio, which was being stolen by the convict. And the convict had a camera, which represented a photograph, or the photosphere. That's the visible surface. It's what you take the picture of when you photograph the sun. And then you had the photograph was taking a picture of something that was chrome, like some chrome rims or a chrome bumper, which represents the chromosphere. It's the very boring layer, the reddish layer right above the photosphere. And then finally, the last one out that you have would be the corona, would be the farthest layer out of the sun. It's also the hottest layer of the sun. Over 1 million degrees, or I should say the hottest layer of the atmosphere of the sun. The hottest layer of the sun is the core. That's where nuclear fusion occurs. But the hottest layer of the atmosphere would be the corona. And if you had the mnemonics where you had the apple core into the radio, the convict stealing it, taking a photograph of some chrome rims, you could have those chrome rims attached to like a Toyota Corolla, which kind of sounds like a Corona. Or you could have attached to a Kona ice truck, perhaps. So these would be the layers of the sun. Some of the solar storms that we see, we've got one that arcs upward and comes back down. Of course, that would be a prominence, because remember, the golden arches are where you're going to go to prom. You will take your date when you go to prom. So prominence is the arches, the golden arches that come off the sun. As opposed, it doesn't show you on this one, but a flare would be one that just continues out into space. 7 over here, these will be your sunspots. They cycle about every 11 years as a sunspot cycle. And then the little bitty areas in here, these are granulations. Granulations are going to be the areas of the sun where it gives it that mottled appearance. And it's actually caused by where underneath the convective zone, the areas where they're rising and sinking, where convection is going on. It's like boiling water on the top of it. And it's essentially kind of like the boiling water on the surface of the sun. They call them granulations.